Steam bait. It's just dumb. You've probably never gone on the discussions page of Steam. I own Steam just because I want games, but it's people like this which just makes me not want Steam. Steam bait is basically where you just say something completely dumb and then expect everyone to get a reaction out of it. And this is mostly to get awards. Basically, people pay for games, you get points, and then you can award people those points, like Reddit. But Steam, I don't see it very often, and when I do, I hate it. This one was specifically on the Undertale community. If you go on the discussions page, it was probably on the top, because it's on the top, because everyone was commenting on it. Everyone hated this guy. I'm going to probably censor out the name, because I don't want you to go harass this person. He's already got, like, enough comments on his Steam profile at this point. He has like 42 pages of people just going, why? So it all started when he made a discussion, and it was called, "Why do people praise the game? It's ugly and outdated. I've never seen a more outdated game than this. The textures are just awful. People really get blinded by nostalgia." Here's the thing. I said that's what he first posted. That's a lie. You never believe that. It was edited. Basically, to make his argument correct, he edited it slightly. So he's like, what do you mean? I didn't say that. He did say that. You can see it was edited. Like, I can't find what it originally was. But apparently it was something that he had to change to make his argument correct. Because, like, this isn't no normal beta, because usually they just send something, and then they interact a bit, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, it's been like 2 months. I guess I'll just give up. But this guy wouldn't. He acted like it was an actual argument. This guy's done a lot of things, but it's gone unnoticed for most of the time. Such as, he's posted Steam reviews of games, and most of them are indie games, and all he does is he puts the thumbs down and is like, it's an indie game. What's there to do? It's like, what do you mean? Like, at least this one, the one I just showed you right there, had a little bit of common sense. But let me show you another one. It's literally just, it's an indie game. What? But let's get into this discussion. Let's get into the real meat. So basically, people were saying that it's just your opinion. We don't care if it's your opinion, but don't send it here. Don't go into a community and send it. And most people were also saying, bait. Don't listen to this. Don't send awards. He just does weird stuff. He thinks everyone else is an opinion and his is fact. To the point where, if there's not even an opinion in there, it's still an opinion. Like, take this for example. Sure, that may be the case with some indie games, but it isn't for Undertale. Toby Fox said himself that he feared this type of popularity. And I'm not going to say the rest because it's just him insulting. I don't really like the fact that everyone was sending insults at each other, because it's mostly what the OP was expecting. He wanted people to give him awards and also have a vivid reaction. Like, oh my god, why would you say that? And some people were saying that, come on, don't insult him, that's what he wants. But then he proceeds to reply, they aren't true, they are opinions. Huh? So apparently now, Toby Fox saying that he feared this type of popularity is an opinion. That doesn't make sense. He also just says, so it's an indie game, great. And it's like, what do you have against indie games? And then he proceeds to say his logic on why indie games are just completely terrible. Which is, they're cheap. They're cheap attempts to get that quick cash from blind morons that think that indie games are pure and clean from the mainstream garbage. Huh? I think he's thinking of mobile games, which usually are made in 5 seconds, and are just like, oh my god, I made this in 5 seconds, and now I can make it for free. But yet do they know that I'm going to add 50 billion in-app purchases and an ad at every corner? But most people were also saying about the fact his argument is mostly just the graphics are bad. I didn't even mention the fact that he doesn't actually he hasn't played a single hour of a minute of Undertale. He hasn't owned the game. He just decided, let me go into a community and say the game looks bad, therefore it is bad. It's like that I've never seen a more outdated game than this. The textures are awful, and then someone replies, so it's a deliberate art choice, not awful textures. Is this a legitimate complaint or 4chan bait? Like, there's not a legitimate complaint. You can probably tell. It's bait. But then he proceeds to reply in such a great thing. Imagine making your game look bad. Here's the thing. Making games look bad is kind of an opinion. Believe it or not, you can have a game which looks bad, but some people will like the art style. Like, if I drew just a picture of a house using crayons, there will be someone who would want to buy it. Like Van Gogh, he was hated. Everyone hated his art, and now it's in art galleries everywhere. Because people realized, oh, the art looks kind of good. But back then, everyone hated it. But most of all, he just insults everyone. If they make a good point, they just immediately go, are you dumb? Like, look at this. He says, well, how did the game critics even rate this game if it was so awful? Why was it a 9 out of 10? Then, answer, story and good characters. I don't get why people judge a book on its cover. And then he just replies, are you that dumb? Huh? He doesn't even specify why that comment was dumb. He just says, are you that dumb? As if like he can just hold up like a cross like against a vampire saying, are you that dumb? And then he'll just go, whoa, I can't mess around with that person. They clearly have intelligence. And there's also people saying, you're the dumb one. You rated a game on its textures. Because it's dumb. Why would you rate a game on its textures? Soon we'll see why he decides that rating a game on its textures is the only possible outcome. Someone says, but the story is perfect. And then he proceeds to say, it's a video game. And then someone else is like, I must ask, what is your point? And he replies, stories in games are there to give the player the motivation/direction to do something that results in progression. You expect it to be there, but it's never groundbreaking. The quality of stories that books and movies have doesn't exist in games. Huh? My brain, number one, I struggle to read that because does it? He isn't English, I checked. So I'm not gonna make fun of the English because they're not English. But I'm confused to say the least. Because like you can have a good story in a game. Because they're essentially the same as movies and books, but you interact with them instead, and you actually get to interact. I actually find games much more fun than, say, like, a movie. I do enjoy reading books as well, but I can enjoy a game story as much as I like reading a book story. And then there's someone else who says, people who pay attention to graphics have a really bad taste in games. And then he replies with, it's what gamers crave. I do too crave everything in ray tracing. And he's like, it's what gamers crave, everyone. We need good graphics. Ray tracing, activate. I always thought the ray tracing thing was a funny joke, because the reflections are actually just hurting my eyes. But I do enjoy ray tracing. I do say it does hurt my eyes, and that's because it does. But I only look at Minecraft ray tracing, because I found that interesting, and that usually does hurt my eyes. Someone else also says a point, well, like I said, where it's people's opinion, and the Van Gogh thing where I said that his art looked bad to everyone back then, but now it's in art galleries because everyone likes it. And they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and he just replies, "You seem kinda stupid." I'm so confused what that argument is back. Because it isn't an argument. Tell me what argument is, "You seem kind of stupid." If I wrote that in my history assessment, I would have gotten a negative grade. Now here's one which, when I first read it, I physically did this. Like, huh? What? It's not because of the fact I'm about to tell you, because he says, this person says, "What's wrong with indie games? Minecraft's an indie game, and this is a great indie game." That wasn't the thing which made me fly backwards in my chair. The thing which made me fly backwards in my chair is what he replies with, which is, "Minecraft is not a game." I'm so confused at whatever that argument was, because it wasn't an argument. It was just saying, Minecraft is not a game, and expecting that to work out. What do you mean, Minecraft is not a game? Like, it's like one of the most bought games. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. I'm not looking it up right now. I'm confused what that argument is. Then there's someone else who also thinks it's bait again. I think you should play the game before you say something like that. You're also kind of obviously fishing for discourse here. If you played the game first, you might understand that Undertale isn't made of its graphics. I think 8-bits can be charming. And even if you don't like it, there's much more to me. It seems like you just looked at the wrong parts of the fandom and decided based on that. Yeah. And that was like, I don't need to play a game to know it's bad. Graphics are what games are made out of, dumbass. No. All the games aren't made out of graphics. As I'm pretty sure I remember a quote from William Osman where he said, but
if you have a video that's low quality with good sound, that's okay. If you have a video that's...
It's the same with games, but in a different kind of way. If the graphics are bad, but it's got a good story, that's okay. If the graphics are completely peak, RTX on, but the story is bad, I may as well not be playing the game. And that's the way most games go. Like, some games, they either focus too much on story, or they focus too much on, or focus too much on graphics. Sometimes you'll get this mid-ground where it looks slightly okay, and the story makes sense. Like, I've seen games where, like, the story, I can follow along with it. It's a pretty good story, and the graphics are not an eyesore, so... Like, and it's because most games, they spend so much time on the graphics, they don't actually think of the story. Because they're too busy developing the graphics. Here's another good point from someone. Because he said, they're cheap. They're cheap attempts to get that quick... I'm pretty sure I've already said what he said. But he said that they're just cheap attempts to get that quick cash from blind morons that think that indie games are pure clean. Then someone replies with, indie games are quite literally pulling the video game industry forward. You don't like them, then that's your idea. Just don't call us morons. Which is true. Indie games are actually very popular. They do pull the video game industry forward because, believe it or not, there's a lot less big companies when there are little small groups of people who wanted to make a fun project. And he says, indie pulling the game industry, please. And yes, you are a moron. What are these... A lot of the people in this discussion are polite. There's just some people where they're slightly like... And people do reply saying, don't say stuff like that because that's what he wants. He also says stuff... He just says... Most of the time, he just repeats himself, saying, no, games don't have story. Like, he says, one, no game has a good story, it's in your head. And also, he also insults the characters. And he's like, good characters? Please. Like, what do you mean? You haven't played the game. You haven't seen the characters. You cannot judge like just the characters based on graphics. Do you know that? Basically, he's doing what Darman would not have wanted, judging a book by its cover. Different, like, good characters. Why does he act like he knows the characters? I've only played Undertale for 20.8 hours, and the characters are pretty good. I haven't even done the genocide route because I'm so attached to the characters. I would feel bad for 2 years like I did when I deleted my Spore save. He also says 3 different ways to play. Wow! Where have I heard that one before? He says that, but he doesn't realize that Undertale changed the way games did that. That he says that as if it's like, oh, what's new? Am I right? It's like, well, here's the thing. Back when it was made, it completely changed the way games did that. But when he says, like, that, like, what's new? It's like, the thing is, back when it was first made, this was a completely new sort of system of the way of doing that. Like, the game, after you reset it, it remembers stuff. It has a separate file, which remembers you. Which isn't something other games really did that much. But then Undertale did it, and then everyone, like, now most games do that. So that's why he's like, huh, what's new? Like, because here's the thing, back when it was first made, it was a new thing. He also says, it should be $0. The dev should pay me. Nothing comes free, no matter how bad it is. Someone put work into it, and that means that is effort, which needs to be put in. Everyone thinks that there are 3 things. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a lie. Especially if it's on the internet, it's not free. Someone probably had to, somewhere down the line, get paid. The reason why is because, you know, mobile games? Yeah, remember how I mentioned that at the start? You know how they're free? They're not free. You're watching adverts. Because when you watch the adverts, it then goes to the creators. And also not to mention the fact that the in-app purchases, they also go to the people, clearly. So it's not actually free, it's just the way they market them. It's like, oh, it's free, when actually it's not. Like, every game that there's got, like, even, like, apps, like YouTube, for example, the way they get paid is they're trying to switch to, like, premium or something. I don't know why. But, the adverts you watch, they go to the creators. That's the way YouTube and the creators earn money. It's not just money coming out of thin air. Exactly. But yeah, I just realized I'm at the end of my list. There is literally 43 pages. It was 42 yesterday. Someone posted an apology about what they said, because basically everyone sometimes overreacted because he insulted them to try get a reaction. They poked and prodded them. And I saw 2 people apologize for what they said because they said they overreacted, and I think they did. But yeah, there being 43 pages is just insane, because it means that I was gonna say something about how many people saw it, but I realized that's probably wrong, because not every single person was 1 person per comment. So I'm gonna say somewhere around like 300 or 250 people, roughly half of 700 of the comments, were probably unique people who saw this debate and most likely, well, fell for it. Most of them weren't, but just saying. Wanted to comment their opinion on this bait, and most of it was people saying this is bait. And most people did know it was bait, but they wanted to comment to make people aware that this is bait. I just wanted to post this to make you aware that don't give your awards out to people who are clearly doing this. Don't go like, oh, look, they don't like big popular game for dumb reason. Here, have my clown award. Because that just means they get what they want. You just gave them points, which usually you have to pay for. It's like, huh? Like, I can't believe actually how efficient this worked. And if you're out there if you're watching this video, I hope you enjoyed your 35 clown awards, because that clearly was the entire goal. And if you find the account in this thing, I'm gonna do what a lot of people always say, because it's understandable. Don't go harass this person just because they did this. He's gotten enough already at this point. But already 43 pages of his comments have been, of his Steam profile have been filled with people going, "Why did you say this?" Anyway, I just wanted to say my opinion on that, and also to try stop any other people just giving out their points to people who are clearly wanting that, even though their opinion sounds dumb and funny. Like, haha, bad opinion on popular game. And maybe I can review the entire thing, because it gets so much more interesting in the future part, but I'm not reading all the way through it, because you need all the context clues at the start to actually do that. So maybe I'll make a part 2. I don't know. It just depends if I'm in the mood. I just got this idea for a video, and I just put a load of the comments into Paint. I was like, well, I guess I can read off this list. Anyway, goodbye.